So, before attempting this challenge, I knew from the get-go how ridiculous it was going to be. Pokemon Colosseum is different from any other Pokemon game in that there are no wild Pokemon, and the Pokemon you can catch are in fact stolen from other trainers. On top of this, there's very few areas in the game that are counted as separate. Plenty of other people who've attempted this challenge have edited the classic Nuzlocke rule set from you may only catch the first Pokemon in each area or route to you may use every Shadow Pokemon as long as you catch it the first time around. Some decided that you may pick which Pokemon in an area you'll end up using out of those available. Others randomly select which Pokemon you get to use in any given area. But not us. We're doing a vanilla Nuzlocke of this game. If it's the first Pokemon I encounter in the area, it is the one I'll have to catch and use. And most of the time, the first Pokemon you encounter is, well, a little underwhelming. Now, you may be thinking, why is this so ridiculous? Well, Pokemon Colosseum only has a whopping total of 11 different areas in the game where you can catch a Pokemon. This means that in total, there will be only 14 Pokemon in the game I'm able to use, including my 2 starters and 1 gift Pokemon we get at the end of a certain event. Now, disclaimer. This game is not designed to be Nuzlocked, like, at all. Every battle's a double battle, there are no wild Pokemon, you can't even level up your caught Pokemon until halfway through the game. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So without further ado, let's begin our Pokemon Colosseum Nuzlocke Challenge. The game begins with a cutscene of us destroying the base of our former team, Team Snag'em. Why do we do this? Well, in order to be a part of Team Snag'em, you have to be bald, and our character has some cool anime hair, so right off the bat, this isn't a good fit. Oh, also we get this cool arm machine that steals Pokemon, but we'll get to that later. After the cutscene plays out, we end up at a gas station where we're introduced to our first 2 Pokemon of the run, and the only ones we can level up normally, Umbreon and Espeon. I decide that since the cutscene was only around 45 seconds long, that I'm going to reset until these 2 have natures that complement their stats and natures that I'm happy with. So I watch Team Balding get blown up over and over again until I'm content with the natures in my 2 starters. It only took about 10 tries to get something I was happy with. Interestingly, unlike any other Pokemon game, your starters begin at level 25 and 26 and have partially filled experience bars. So, as we're about to head on into the outskirts stand, a couple weird looking guys came out and talked about the recent kidnapping job. Considering that we're low-key a criminal ourselves, we ignore them and head right in. Upon entering, the news comes on with a broadcast that reports that Team Balding's base had been destroyed by an explosion. Being the one responsible, it looks like we're already famous. We made the news. Now that we're famous, Willie wants to try his luck against us in a battle. After quickly murdering his Zigzagoons, he tells us to test our luck to the west, in Phoenix City. As it turns out, everybody's going to Phoenix City, and the 2 guys we saw before are there, and having trouble with their kidnapping. I offer to help, but they think I'm a good guy, so they challenge me to a battle. After quickly disposing of them, they run off, leaving us with their baggage. Wanting to know who's inside the sack, we open it, only to be disappointed by a Discount Misty. So the role of Discount Misty in this game is to tell us what Pokemon is a Shadow Pokemon. Considering I've already done my research on good old Wikipedia, that means that this character is useless. After freeing Useless, we're told to go to the mayor's office to report the offense, and Useless, being as thirsty as she is, asks us to be her bodyguard. Seemingly given no option, we accept. So at this point, I decide to check out what's in my bag, and to my surprise, it seems we're actually stocked with a decent amount of items. Nonetheless, we still take the opportunity to stock up on potions in the shop. After exploring around the town a bit, grabbing some items, and stumbling upon a guy watching anime, we finally make our way to the mayor's house, where out stumbles this guy who is just so obviously evil. He says we'll see him again. I say I doubt it, and he walks away. He doesn't tell us his name, but the old lady who witnessed the whole thing said he had cutting and cold eyes, so we'll call him Cold Eyes. We show up at the mayor's office, where he flirts with Useless, calling her pretty not once, but twice. He then tells us he'll start an investigation into the matter of the Shadow Pokemon and her kidnapping. In the meantime, he tells us to visit the Phoenix Stadium. A guy there tells us that the Snag'em hideout was blown up, and that he wonders who did it. And clearly, he doesn't watch the news. Well, the stadium was closed all along. The mayor clearly just wanted to get us out of his house. Upon leaving, we're surrounded by bald people, who are mad we blew up their hideout and try to take back the snag machine. They take out some razors trying to cut my anime hair, and that's the last straw for us. After giving them a quick beatdown, Useless gets even more thirsty, saying that she wants some balls, Pokeballs. Yeah, she wants us to get Pokeballs so we can catch the Shadow Pokemon from the bad guys. We check Phoenix City's shop with no luck, so we head back to Outskirts Stand, where good guy Willie tells us that some shady looking guys are searching for us, and to be careful. Outskirts Stand luckily has Pokeballs, so we buy some and head back to Phoenix City, where apparently some shady looking guys have gone into. We remember Willie's advice, we go back to the mayor's house where the two kidnappers have brought backup, including this game's version of Michael Jackson. And it is here that the best music in any Pokemon game ever is played for us. I mean, listen to that. It's just so perfect. Anyways, the kidnappers are mad we beat them last time, so they challenge us again, this time bringing a Shadow Makuhita. Useless tells us that this is the Pokemon she was talking about, and we have an opportunity to catch our first Pokemon of the playthrough. I really had no choice in the matter to catch Makuhita, as he's the only Pokemon encountered in the area Mayor's house. He might not be of that much use to us, and his stats aren't too great, but he is our encounter, so it would have been foolish not to scoop him up when we can. Immediately after dealing with the situation at the Mayor's house, we're given a choice between which Pokemon we want to be our Phoenix City encounter. This is one of the rare times that we can decide which Pokemon we encounter first, so I take my time going over the options we have in front of us. We have a choice between either Bayleaf, Quilava, or Croconaw. All three of them are at level 30, but we can only get one of them at this time. Quilava was automatically eliminated as a choice when looking over which Pokemon I would be able to get in the future. We have an opportunity to get an Entei later in the game, so assuming we get him, we don't need a Fire type. Quilava also has the worst defensive stats out of the three, which is something I really took into consideration. Between Croconaw and Bayleaf, I decided to go with Bayleaf, simply because Bayleaf was better defensively and had the ability to learn Giga Drain, as well as Light Screen, which might come in handy in double battles. Bayleaf also has a better matchup against Mirror B, who is probably the most important trainer to get past in this entire game. So we catch Bayleaf from Cypher Peon Verde and scoop up the strategy memo from the pre-gym. We continue on our adventure in Pyrite Town, not before a quick stop at the construction lot, where a Colosseum is being built. Upon entering Pyrite Town with our team of 4, we inquire about Shadow Pokemon Kale, the local scumbag. He won't give us any answers, so we find ourselves exploring Pyrite Town for some clues. In our exploration, we meet a fortune teller helping a guy whose wife left him. Jesus, that's dark. And Duking, who's the town's mayor and leader of the Colosseum. We find out he keeps kids behind the bookcase in his room, but they seem to be happy to be there, so we let it slide. One kid in particular named Silva is upset with Duking about letting Michael Jackson influence him in the town so much that he storms off to try to fix the situation himself. Now, we have our next big choice, the Nuzlocke. The dual square in Pyrite Town has 6 trainers that all have Shadow Pokemon that we can catch. These Pokemon being Noctowl, Flaffy, Skiploom, Quagsire, Misdreavus, and Slugma. This is the only choice we get for a long time, so we have to make it count. Immediately, I eliminate Skiploom as an option because we already have Bayleaf. Noctowl and Slugma underwhelm me with their typings and their stats, so we also brush them off. Flaffy provides similar coverage to Bayleaf, but has a big Earthquake weakness, which is very, very present in this game, so I pass on that too. Between Misdreavus and Quagsire, I decided to go with Quagsire, simply for better type coverage and access to both Surf and Earthquake, which hit both of the opposing team's Pokemon. Quagsire also would do well in our battle against Dakim much later. So I catch Quagsire from Bandana Guy Divel, which counts as our Pyrite Town encounter. And after that, I decided I wanted to try grinding up my team a little bit. While Shadow Pokemon cannot level up, the more they battle, the more their Shadow Gauge goes down. And the more their Shadow Gauge goes down, the more moves they're able to use. This in mind, I still think it's best to grind up my team before moving on to later parts of the game. I run into a trainer that starts flirting with me, and Useless gets jealous, telling me to be a man and stomp her down. Jeez, that would not fly in 2019. During the battle, Quagsire enters Hyper Mode, and here we have our first glimpse into how to quickly purify Shadow Pokemon. While entering Hyper Mode, a Pokemon won't attack for the turn. While in Hyper Mode, a Shadow Pokemon can do a whole bunch of crazy things, so normally it's best to get rid of it once it shows up. The Shadow Pokemon can disobey the trainer and use another move, it can turn and attack the teammate, it might hurt itself, it might return to the Pokeball, it might do nothing, so it's totally a roll of the dice if the Pokemon will get along with you or not. I beat down the flirtatious battler, and things are looking good for my team. And then, tragedy struck. In my very next battle against Ryder Vant, his Mischievous confuses my Bayleaf, and Quagsire decides to go into Hyper Mode. Bayleaf hits itself, and the opposing Zigzagoon uses Tail Whip. I switch out Bayleaf to Umbreon and call Quagsire out of Hyper Mode. The Zigzagoon then uses Tail Whip again. After being confused and then tickled by the Zigzagoon, Quagsire then fell next turn to a Shadow Ball from the Mischievous. On watching the battle back, I think I wasn't really aware what the Zigzagoon was doing, and the loss of the Quagsire was totally foolish on my part, and will no doubt hurt me going forward in the game. But that wasn't all. I sent out Espeon to use Reflect and negate some of the damage Shadow Ball was doing, but I underestimated how much Shadow Ball would actually do to me, and Espeon also fell victim to the Mischievous I opted not to get. We finished the battle, losing 2 Pokemon, our team now consisting of 3 Pokemon, being Umbreon, Makuhita, and Bayleaf, and I'm mad at myself for not paying attention to what the Zigzagoon was doing. I consider restarting the run, knowing now that our challenge would be even greater. I lost 2 of the biggest assets on my team, and am now stuck with 2 Pokemon that can't level up, and my Umbreon. But I decide that my suffering would be more entertaining, so I keep going. We deposit Espeon and Quagsire into the PC, never to be seen again, and go back to the Duel Square to grind. Considering Bandana Guy Divel is the only trainer without a Shadow Pokemon at this point, I decide that he's the perfect trainer to grind on. I inform him that the Quagsire I stole from him is dead, and I proceed to beat him down over and over and over again. I kid you not, I battled this guy at least a dozen times until Umbreon was level 33, and Bayleaf and Makuhita had all of their moves unlocked. I also grinded against the trainer with the Flaffy, and the one with the Skiploom, but that doesn't compare to what I did to Divel. So after grinding sufficiently, I go to enter the Colosseum Challenge, where we learn that Kale, the local scumbag, has a Shadow Pokemon, and might know something about what's going on in Pyrite Town. I cannot emphasize enough how scared I was of facing Kale. His Furret is level 33 and is a Shadow Pokemon, so it comes with the move Shadow Rush. One critical hit and one of my Pokemon could be dead. I'm scared of a Furret, guys. A Furret. Luckily, we managed to get past Kale without any scratches, and he tells us that he's got the Pokemon from winning the Colosseum Challenge. Being that I only have 3 Pokemon, I jump at the opportunity to get another one, but am stopped by a side quest. But not before a cutscene that shows us Cold Eyes talking to Smooth Criminal over here about their evil plan. So, Silva stole the gear from the Colosseum, so now it can't run. Duking wants us to get it back. And within 30 seconds, we get it back, and Duking tells us that he wants to enter the Colosseum Challenge to see what's going on. There. Now, finally, we can enter the Colosseum Challenge. But not before beating up Bandana Guy Divel a little bit more. Come here, you! So, I kid you not, Makuhita is he hasn't done anything in this entire playthrough. And he has this one moment to shine in the Colosseum, and he drops the ball. He misses his cross chop, and effectively making him as useless so far in this playthrough. His stats suck, he's really slow, and he has no defense. It's really sad. But we breeze through the Colosseum Challenge very smoothly, and are given TM06, which contains Toxic. I teach it to Umbreon in hopes that it'll be useful against Mirror B and the other more intense battles later on in the game. So they bring us to the Pyrite building to give us our prize Shadow Pokemon, but they recognize me from the news and they try to fight me. This is about where our choices get really limited in this game. Pyrite building is counted as a new area in the game, but we're immediately thrown into battle with a trainer with a Shadow Yanma as soon as we enter the building. Being that Yanma is the first Pokemon we find in this area and we need all the help we can get, I scoop him up, making him the 4th member of my team. After beating the trainer, Duking shows up and why did you bring your kids? So Duking shows up and tells us they have his Pokemon Plusle hostage, and that's why he's been letting bad things happen in Pyrite Town. After a bit of grinding to lower Yanma's Shadow Gauge a bit, Umbreon learns Feint Attack, which I replaced Bite with. I'd rather have a move hit 100% of the time than have a chance to flinch. The point of a Nuzlocke is to minimize as many risks as you can to be successful. So, we re-enter the building, and our first challenger rolls up. Literally. Roller Boy Pike has a Tailo and a Hoot Hoot. I led with my Umbreon and Bayleaf, because Makuhita is just useless. His Tailo aerial aced my Bayleaf, and did well over half. And when his Hoot Hoot used Wing Attack, my heart sank, knowing that if it hit, Bayleaf was gonna die. Luckily, the AI is dumb, and it used it on my Umbreon, saving me the pain and suffering. And the problem with Shadow Pokemon becomes abundantly clear. I can't level these guys up yet, and no matter how many battles they do, their stats stay the exact same, despite opposing trainers getting Pokemon that are higher and higher level. I reflect on my dead Espeon and how it would have been really nice to have another Pokemon capable of leveling up, and I move on. Luckily, the rest of this building offers little to no challenge for Umbreon and Bayleaf, and we're able to make it to the roof. This guy also doesn't recognize me, and assumes we're new recruits, so clearly, he doesn't watch the news either. We enter the building, find Silva, and battle against his captors to free him. The first trainer's strongest Pokemon is Luvdisc, so we demolished her. The second trainer I was a bit more nervous for, as her Shadow Mantine is bulky and has lots of HP, and her Pokemon are in general a little bit higher level than the ones I've fought previously. So, I end up Toxic Stalling her Mantine and oh god, not another Furret! So, after defeating them, Speed Demon pops up on the screen and basically says, if you want me, come get me. So, the clueless guy finally gets a clue, and we battle him to get into Pyrite Cave, where, you guessed it, more lower level trainer battles. This trainer actually was a bit scary, as he had a Linoon and a Quillfish, both of which may not seem very strong, but come on, look at what I'm working with here, people. Unfortunately, I don't have a choice about which Pokemon I get to encounter in Pyrite Cave, so it looks like we're stuck with this meta type. No, don't, please. No, 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 no! So this is the big problem with leaving your Pokemon in Hyper Mode. We almost lost the Meditite there because Yanma has a bit of a behavioral problem, and not only decided to Shadow Rush, it decided to crit as well. Either way, we end up catching the Meditite and have as many members on our team as we can before fighting Mirror B. Eventually, I run out of feint attacks, so I decide to leave the cave and go grind some more against our favorite bandana-wearing punching bag. Hey, your Quagsire's still dead, come here! So at this point, I feel like I'm kind of over-grinding. But keep in mind, all of the battling is mostly for my Pokemon's shadow gauges to decrease, and for them to learn actual moves. Plus, Umbreon is the only Pokemon I have with the ability to level up at all, so I don't feel too bad. Normally, I wouldn't want to over-grind into Nuzlocke, as that kind of eliminates a lot of the challenge, but I feel like this is a pretty unique case. So after a little bit of grinding, and after I sufficiently decreased Meditite and Yanma's shadow gauges, I return to Pyrite Cave and enter the sewers, where I challenge this trainer with a Dunsparce. So Dunsparce was the Pokemon that I would have chosen had I had the ability to choose which shadow Pokemon I could have in each area. Instead, we got Meditite first, which we had no control over whatsoever. Knowing that he can't come with us, the Dunsparce decides to be a real jerk and one-shots my Makuhita with Takedown. I went out to Makuhita, I tried to cross-chop, and it didn't work. The Dunsparce was just one-shot at him, it wasn't a crit or anything. Makuhita's stats were just horrible. He was pretty much useless the entire run, but it still stinks that I'm now down 3 Pokemon before even getting to the hard part of the game. And at this point, the only thing left to do is the Mirror B fight, and I'm dreading it. I don't think any of my Pokemon besides Umbreon are even close to ready to face him. His fully evolved Ludicolo posed quite the threat for my team, and the Sudowoodo can hit ridiculously hard with a Shadow Rush and knock out basically any of my Pokemon in one hit, besides Umbreon. So, I have an idea for a backup strategy. I decided to deliberately put Yanma into Hyper Mode, banking on a few stray crits helping me, as Hyper Mode increases Shadow Rush's critical hit ratio, as we saw earlier when he almost killed my Meditite. I find some vitamins in the sewers and grind out the rest of the trainers, giving Protein and Carbos to Meditite to boost its attack and speed, and the Iron and the Zinc to the Bayleaf to boost its defense and special defense. Now, I've pretty much done everything I can to prepare for Mirror B, besides grinding Umbreon up to level 100. We enter his chamber and see the man in the mirror himself, dancing with his squad. My dread instantly is washed away, as soon as his battle music starts. I decide to lead with Umbreon and Meditite, wanting to target the Ludicolo that knew Ice Beam first, as to make Bayleaf a more viable option to switch into during the battle. I confuse the Ludicolo with Confuse Ray, banking on some helpful RNG, and Calm Mind with Meditite to boost his special defense enough to take potential special attacks, like Surf or Water Gun or whatever it had to throw at us. Both of them try to set up Rain Dance. One succeeds and one fails, because obviously you can't set up Rain if Rain is already up. I then confuse the other one, and set up another Calm Mind with Meditite, as they astonish my Umbreon and try to Leech Seed my Meditite. I'm thankful that the AI isn't exactly genius, and that I'm getting relatively lucky with the battle. The Leech Seed missed on my Meditite, and they also haven't gone for any special attacking moves on the Meditite, so both of my Pokemon are at full health. From here, they end up Leech Seeding my Umbreon, which is just a minor annoyance. Meditite and Umbreon just keep trying to Feint Attack and Shadow Rush, doing their best to team up on each individual Ludicolo. So Meditite has Pure Power, and his attacks are basically doing an insane amount of damage to each Ludicolo. Every single Shadow Rush he hits does over half, and I'm so thankful that he actually ended up being an asset in this battle. And right here, I make a great play, probably play of the battle. I knock out one Ludicolo with Feint Attack, only for the Sudowoodo to come in and take a high jump kick from Meditite right to the face. I then knock it out on the next turn when I outspeed him, giving him no chance to do any actual damage to my team. From here, we clean up the last Ludicolo and successfully defeat Mirror B. Naruto runs out, his plan's foiled, and we rescue the Plusle from the back room, while also learning that there's a method to purify the Pokemon we've been catching. Thank God, hopefully they can level up now. So at this point, I believe one of the hardest battles of the game is finally behind us, and we return to Duking's house to celebrate our victory and the liberation of Pyrite Town. Plusle, being so thankful for being rescued, decides to go with us. I'm thankful we finally have a decent electric type to add to the team. And wait, it's only level 13? Whose idea was this?